Watch the pick anywhere on the screen and wiggle it like a madman.
Wiggle, 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 wiggle! Yeah! So far
Guitar Hero and Rock Band were two titans of the gaming industry that were impossible to avoid for a good stretch of time. These iconic rhythm game series gave players the chance to simulate being in a band and were beloved by many people. Regardless of whether you were more of a Rock Band or Guitar Hero person, these were all basically the same game, and each one was guaranteed to be a fun time. Eventually, however, it all had to come to an end when the market became oversaturated with these kinds of games, and retailers lost interest due to how much valuable shelf space these boxes took. Clearly, they needed more room for Pop Funkos. All of these factors combined led to these franchises silently vanishing into the night. Until around 2015 or so, when each got a failed revival and disappeared once again like a sad fart. Despite the death of these franchises, both were extremely popular in their heyday and had a significant impact on culture. Guitar Hero was the series I personally fell in love with after I came home from school one day to find that my brother had bought Guitar Hero 3 for our Wii, and I sucked balls at first.
What's that horrible sound?
They're booing, dude. They hate you.
Eventually, I played more and more until I could tackle Expert. Getting to the final battle with Lou and just barely beating the main campaign was one of the single greatest accomplishments of my childhood. This game helped to shape my taste in music and push me to want to learn how to become a musician. I'm not exaggerating when I say that this series actually changed my life. And okay, we're getting a little too sentimental here. What if you wanted to play Guitar Hero on the toilet? Believe it or not, there were actually multiple attempts at putting Guitar Hero on portable devices. The first method of note were the infamous Guitar Hero CARABINER toys. Yeah, this thing sucks. Would you believe they made 2 of these? Each one boasts that they're a playable pocket-sized version of the original. 10 songs are included with each device, but the music itself is not only severely compressed and yucky sounding, but they're also not the full songs.
Whoa, it's got vocals!
The other attempt at a portable Guitar Hero experience was the Guitar Hero mobile games. Mobile from 2007. So with how miserable a lot of these attempts at portable Guitar Hero have been, you would think that maybe it just can't be done. Well, you're wrong. Guitar Hero On Tour released in 2007 for the Nintendo DS with the promise of delivering a portable Guitar Hero experience. It was developed by Vicarious Visions and published by the company that shall not be named. But if you didn't know that this thing existed or never played it, you're probably wondering, how the hell does this work? How do you take the experience that so many have failed to get right and cram it into this little slab? Easy, you get rid of the color orange. This is the guitar grip. By plugging it into the GBA slot on the bottom of your DS Lite, you have arthritis. Your left-hand fingers rest on the fret buttons and you turn your DS sideways, like in the famous DS title, 100 Classic Books. You have the familiar note highway on the left screen, and all the other information on the right, along with your guitar, which you actually strum using a stylus that's shaped like a guitar pick. Simply hold the frets corresponding to the notes and strum as they come, just like the console game. This is pretty genius. It's probably the best you could have done with any available hardware from the time. Unlike the mobile games or LCD toys, this is actually pocket-sized Guitar Hero. I mean, the fundamentals are all there. It's a rhythm game, with music, and graphics. But let's face it, when you try to cram an experience that comes in a box bigger than most TVs into a DS, some compromises are gonna be made. The orange fret is missing because can you imagine trying to slide your left hand up and down this thing? For the easy and medium difficulties, this really doesn't feel that different from the console games, but when you move up to hard or expert, the difference becomes very noticeable. However, given the alternative, I think they made the right call here. You would think that with the lack of a fret button, expert and hard difficulties would be easier here than on the home console versions, but strumming, while looking and feeling more like strumming an actual guitar, feels less precise than the home console games. The home console versions use a strum bar that clicks. On the DS game, strumming on the screen does the same kind of thing, but swiping just feels less precise than a button click to me. Songs that I can 100% on the console game are much harder on the DS because it feels like my strums only register about 90 to 95% of the time. this is not a game that you want to 100% or play competitively. The other weird thing about this version of Guitar Hero is star power. In the console games, you build up this meter by hitting certain notes without failing, and you get to unleash star power, which doubles your score multiplier and makes the audience like you more. The console games have you tilt your guitar up or press a button to activate it. In this game, you're supposed to yell "Rock out!" into the microphone, but honestly, you can scream anything in there and it'll work. I used to just blow on the microphone because if I was in public, I didn't want people looking at me like a weirdo.
What are you doing?
An annoying little detail is that if you play this anywhere that wasn't completely silent, star power would just activate on its own. Thanks, game! You can also just tap this icon on the left or press the face buttons to activate it. They also integrated the whammy bar into this game, which you just wiggle by wiggling your pick. I mean, that's one way to do it. But okay, let's get down to business. Guitar Hero is all about the music. So how are we doing on that front? Well, we have 26 songs, a pretty small number, but a decent selection overall, with big boy bands like Blink-182, Nirvana, and somebody! It's not my favorite Guitar Hero setlist, but there's a decent number of bangers, and the majority are at least fun to play. It just sucks that the list of songs is so puny. To be fair, I'm sure there was a limitation on DS cartridge storage space, and these games are meant to be replayed over and over again, so you'll still get a lot of value from the game. Just bear in mind that the compression on these files means that the songs don't sound particularly great, but hey, I think this is how All-Star was meant to be heard. Graphics! They're alright. It's the DS we're talking about, so everything looks like a PS1 game. To be fair, most of this tiny screen is covered by the note highway, so you only need to fill up the remaining third of the screen with a few moving pixels. There are 5 venues to choose from, 3 less than Guitar Hero 3's 8 venues, but I really like these because they're pretty distinct. We have a subway station, rooftop party, parade, Greek Coliseum, and battleship. They got pretty creative with the venues here, and you can choose from a handful of characters and even guitars. No bass playing here though, but you can compete against other people in the multiplayer battle mode. If you have friends to battle against, you can connect 2 DSs wirelessly and battle it out. This battle mode is pretty similar to the ones on consoles, where playing good gets you items that you can send over to the other player and sabotage their hot diggity. It can be fun, but I've personally never been a big fan of this mode in any Guitar Hero game. To me, the fun of Guitar Hero is hitting a perfect note streak, and it's hard to do that when I'm constantly interrupted because I need to sign an autograph or my DS catches on fire. So that's Guitar Hero on Tour, a game that does a great job of capturing the Guitar Hero experience and giving players a taste of it on the go. As long as you're okay going to a hand chiropractor. Yeah, I guess we should talk about the elephant in the room. The discomfort that this game gives people is the stuff of legends. Holding your DS this way works for the game, but it doesn't feel good for prolonged sessions. If you can find a comfortable position to play it at all, that is. It never really bothered me when I was younger, but playing it now, I need a flat surface to rest my arm on, which is really hard to do in the scenarios where I would have wanted to play this game, like in a moving vehicle, which I did a lot. You kind of have to stick your elbow out like an asshole. It's not wise to play this all in one sitting, but for a song or two, it gets the job done without causing too much pain. And clearly it sold pretty well because the next year,
company name redacted,
released a sequel, Guitar Hero on Tour Decades. Fundamentally, it's the same as the previous game, utilizing the same guitar grip and putting left hands out of commission everywhere. The difference here is that we get 5 new venues and 25 new songs, plus 3 unlockable songs. Each venue and accompanying 5 songs represents a different decade, starting from the late 2000s going all the way back to the 70s. You start off playing modern hits and work your way backwards. It gives this game a bit more of an identity and helps to diversify the setlist, even if the early and late 2000s are considered 2 different decades, accounting for about 40% of the overall setlist. I wouldn't say that these songs are the 5 definitive choices to represent each of their decades. I mean, you put one Queen song here and you chose We Are the Champions, but I like a lot of these songs, so it's okay. The user interface has been given more of an identity, and they added the ability to play bass guitar, which just adds to the content here. That's all there really is as far as changes go. Really, it just feels like DLC for regular Guitar Hero on Tour, but that's not necessarily a bad thing since most of the console Guitar Heroes felt that way anyway. I didn't like Decades as much as the first game, but I still enjoyed it immensely. And honestly, if these were the only 2 Guitar Hero games we ever got for the DS, the guitar grip would have been a justified purchase.
But wait! There's more!
Guitar Hero On Tour Modern Hits released the next year and was, get this, yet another portable Guitar Hero game. This time focusing on, you guessed it, modern hits. From bands like Sum 41 and Weezer and Yellow Card. Nothing to help your game age like a fine wine, like slapping on the words modern or new. Yeah, not much to say here. I didn't own this one back in the day, but I always wanted to. I have since acquired a copy and, wow guys, it's more Guitar Hero. Not much has really changed since the last game other than having new songs. We have new venues, which also need to be unlocked, and I just didn't have the patience to do that. Career mode has been changed to include this request system, which I really didn't care for. Honestly, this one just doesn't do it for me on the whole as much as the previous two, since it feels to me like they went for the weaker songs from bands that otherwise I think have great music. Not in every case, and musical opinions are highly subjective, but yeah, I just wasn't particularly impressed by this set list, even though the genre of music that's on full display here is a genre that I was way into at the time and still am. What? It's a fine piece of DLC, but this is the one that really feels like DLC to me. And with that, we've taken a look at every Guitar Hero game released on the DS with the name Guitar Hero in it. Band Hero released on home consoles in 2009 and tried to take the Guitar Hero experience and make it more like Rock Band by adding drums and vocals, something that they had already done in the more recent Guitar Hero games, but this was the one where they really leaned into the idea that you could bang on the sacred bongos. This was in the latter half of the Plastic Instrument Wars of Elden times, and get this, they put this one on the DS too. How? Why? Who asked for this? Me apparently, because I got it for Christmas that year. On that note, this game released just a few months after Guitar Hero Modern Hits. Between 2007 and 2009, we got 4 Guitar Hero games on the DS. 4 in a 2.5-year span, which, yes, I do consider this a Guitar Hero game. I mean, it uses the same Guitar Hero grip accessory, so it's a Guitar Hero game. God, no wonder people got tired of this franchise. Like before, you have your standard guitar and bass, but now we also have drums and vocals added to the mix. To play drums, you have to slide this cover over your DS Lite like a moron and use your fingers. Okay, this feels nothing like drumming, but sure, I'll take more useless plastic and rubber that can rot in my drawer any day. Why didn't they just give us another stylus and that way we could just bang on the touchscreen and kind of pretend like we're drumming? Sorry, I just think this is really dumb. I could play expert on guitar and bass no problem, but the constant back and forth that my thumbs need to do to play the drums is exhausting, and half the songs end up being too difficult for me. I feel like actual, real-life drumming would be easier. Fun fact, you can play this mode without the rubber grip. So what is the point? Finally, we have singing, which uses the built-in microphone on the DS. I'm not very good at it.
Just as things were looking up, you said it wasn't good enough, but still we're trying one more time.
Yeah, I think I did good.
Don't pretend I think you know I'm the precious, and yeah, I think I'm a motherfucking princess. And it's done in here. Fuck. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh, I'm honestly doing better by just humming. Ooh, ooh, started in here, hey. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh no, it's not working as well anymore. Well, I just do this. Oh my god, that's working. Just put anything in there. I'm just blowing on it at this point. This game is gonna make me pass out. I want you tonight. Check my flow, bitches. Let's make this last forever. Oh, shit. I got star power on this shit now. Oh, and I wasted it. One night stand. One night stand off. That's not appropriate. This is an E10 rated game. You cannot be talking about one night stands. That's where they do the sex. Honest. Let's make this night last forever.
At least I can't tell if it's me or if it's just this dinky little microphone that can't appreciate my sexy voice. Because I've tested this on both the DS Lite and the new 2DS XL, something we're going to touch on later, and the experience was the same. I found footage of peak Band Hero DS singing, and now I feel ashamed.
I'm gonna make you bend and break. Say a prayer, but let the good times roll. In case God doesn't show.
Either way, I guess this is a game, and you know, it's not that bad. I still mostly treated it as a Guitar Hero game, and on that front, I don't think it's any less offensive than any of the other entries. As far as features go, all songs are available to play yet again right from the get-go and are listed in alphabetical order. Gross. I personally don't think that this game is as visually appealing as the previous three, but again, this isn't a game that's about graphics. It's all about the music, and when it comes to music, I mean, we got Black Eyed Peas. What more could you want? Compared to the previous three games, there's more of an emphasis on pop music. Unlike the version of Band Hero for home consoles, there's no Taylor Swift. Damn! Now what am I gonna do?
But she wears, I wear t-shirts, she's cheer captain and I'm on the bleachers.
In fact, both versions of Band Hero have totally different set lists. The only thing these games have in common is the name and the fact that you can play all four instruments. Vocals count as an instrument. During regular gameplay for any instrument, you'll frequently be prompted to play some minigame with the reward being star power if you complete it successfully. I kinda hate these. Not only do they constantly come up and take you away from the song that you're playing, making it quieter in the process, but they're just not fun. It's also awkward to do while drumming because I usually have my stylus tucked in and I'd have to use my fingers to do these very, very precise motions, and that's a lot harder to do now that I have sausage fingers. They also moved the good-bad meter and the score counter all to the left screen, which kind of clutters everything. I guess one last little thing that I'd like to mention about drumming and singing is that these modes make this the only Guitar Hero game that's playable on the DSi and 3DS. Yeah, remember the DSi? When the DSi came out, they added in features like a camera and a store where you could download games and a bunch of other nifty little features, but in the process, they took away the GBA slot, and without a GBA slot, you can't play Guitar Hero, or any GBA games for that matter, which kind of makes the DSi more of a downgrade in my opinion. At least the DSi compensates for the features that it takes away. I remember when there was this revision for the Wii where they took away the ability to play GameCube games and they didn't add anything to replace that functionality. Thanks, Nintendo! It sucked when the DSi XL came out because I was really tempted by those big boy screens, and I could only afford it if I sold my DS Lite. So in the process, I had to sell all of my Guitar Hero games because there would be no point. But then I remembered something. Since the drumming and singing modes don't require the guitar grip, those technically work on the DSi. I sold Band Hero 2. No point in holding on to a game that I can only play half of, especially when it's the worst half. I guess the last thing I should mention is that they added in this feature where you can connect to your Wii, and with a copy of the Wii version of Band Hero, you can do this roadie minigame. Yeah, listen, I have both of these games, and I can try this mode, but frankly, I don't want to. The DS Guitar Hero Saga, 4 games, over 100 songs, and a whole lot of cramping. The things I do for you people. Revisiting these games has been a lot of fun, and honestly, they hold a very special place in my heart. But I also want to stipulate that I don't think that these games are worth buying in 2021. These games came out at a time before smartphones, and while they definitely served a purpose in 2007, I don't think there's any need for these games now. You can just download a bunch of rhythm games on mobile, and those come with the added benefit of you getting to keep your fingers. These are all still very well-made games, and I'll always cherish the memories I had with them, but I would just much rather play the console versions of Guitar Hero if presented with the opportunity. Still, I think it was pretty genius that they found a way to take this series and put it onto the DS, and for that, I'll always be grateful. I'm sad that Guitar Hero is dead, but it lives on in Clone Hero. You can put it on PC and customize the shit out of it, and the community is constantly adding new songs, features, and just overall content, including support for drums and the shitty Guitar Hero live guitar if you hate yourself. It's totally free, so I strongly recommend checking it out. You'll need to buy a plastic guitar, but there are a bunch of options online, and you can use the Wii guitar as long as you have an adapter, which is what I do. Plus, it's on PC, so you can put it on a laptop. Boom! Now you have portable Guitar Hero in 2021. No compromises, no fuss, just a great game that can be enjoyed on modern technology. And there you have it, a happy ending to this saga. Now I need to bang my hand against the wall a few times to wake it up, so I'll catch you guys in the next episode.
Do you like my stupid hair? Would you guess that I didn't know what to wear? Am I scared of what you think? You make me nervous so I really can't eat. Let's go on late. This night's almost over. Honest, let's make this night last forever. Forever and ever. Let's make this last forever.